We often hear about the thief on the cross, and most times when we hear about it and when it is used, it's in reference to deathbed salvation. And at the last minute, when the thief said to the Savior, remember me in paradise, and Jesus' reply was, this day thou shalt be with me in paradise. Most times when we read or hear that event and that instance is speaking of the thief on the cross, but I just want to highlight that there were actually two thieves on the cross. And in St. John 10:10, Jesus gave the mission of the enemy. He says, the thief comes to steal, to kill, and destroy. And in that same verse, Christ also gave his mission, but I come that you may have life and that you may have it more abundantly. So during their hours on the cross, and all three are getting ready to die, the thief on the cross that began to antagonize and to express his anger and doubt of Christ being the Messiah began to sharply rebuke him and challenge him and say, if he really is the Christ, why don't he come down off the cross and not only save himself, but to save them? That's the other thief on the cross. And I just got something out of that. In his dying breaths, in his last moments of life, he began to ask Christ to save him as well. But it was out of selfishness. It was out of unbelief of who Jesus really was. And I want to focus more on the Christ, the Savior, and his mission. Even at his dying moment, Jesus stayed focused on his mission, that I came to save, I came to forgive, I came that you may have life. So in the last few moments of Jesus' life, he stayed focused on his mission. I just wanted to encourage those that are listening, and even me, myself, for that matter. You're going to have your critics. You're going to have those who are going to judge you and falsely accuse you and begin to ridicule your mission or your vision. But let's take a lesson from our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, on the cross. He took his last dying breaths that the enemy and the thief wanted to steal from him in order that he would still fulfill his mission for those who would seek him, for those who acknowledge him as Lord and as Messiah. And that was the thief that recognized, even in his state of dying himself, acknowledged Jesus Christ as Lord. And at that moment, Jesus saved his dying breath. He saved his last few inhales and exhales of oxygen, to use that to still fulfill his purpose of speaking life. And he gently turned his head to the thief who was requesting salvation and forgiveness. And Jesus mustered up the breath in his lungs and in his vocal cords to say, this day you will be with me in paradise. So he totally ignored the hater. He totally ignored the thief who did not acknowledge him, who would not recognize him, but would persecute and antagonize him. And he would not spend his last dying breath to someone who did not appreciate, value, identify who he was. But let's learn that lesson from Christ. He took his breath, he took his time and his attention to the one who recognized who he was, and for Christ to fulfill his purpose of coming to speak life and to give life. And in that moment, that thief that we all talk about at the last minute, who didn't attend church, who wasn't baptized, or who didn't commit or was faithful, but in the moment, Christ focused on his mission to save and to give life, and he took his breath. So use your oxygen, your breath, your days, your energy wisely to those whom God has assigned you to, and those that are in your life, and those that you can help, and those that are willing to help you to usher you to your destiny and for you to fulfill your purpose in life. So I just wanted to highlight that, and yeah, I'm doing that certainly in my life, Let's use the oxygen and the breath that life that God gave us. Yes, let's use it wisely to be able to speak life and to fulfill our purpose in life.